Okay, let's start, Megha.
Hello everyone, good evening. Hope you all are doing well. Welcome to this session. I am Megha, Outreach Manager at Next Genius, and I am all welcoming you all to this informative session on NIOS certification. Also, for the certification, I'm just giving you a quick view on that we will share the Google Form link at the end of the session. So please make sure you attend the whole session and be there with us. I will give you a brief, small description about NIOS. So NIOS, the National Institute of Open Schooling, and is an independent board of education under the government of India, and its aim to give everyone a chance to learn with flexible options and the access of quality education and the skills that can help them in a real life. Also, I'm very excited to introduce our speaker, Mr. Bharat Mundra. He comes from a family of educators. Once you'll know about his history and the background, he comes from the family of educators and bring together both tradition and the fresh ideas. Like he has innovated things in a traditional manner to the innovative manner. And after experiencing global education himself, he has set up like help the Indian student help institutes and the students to find out the pathways for the world's top universities. And his experiences give a unique perspective and the alternative to the education system, and which work in a diverse need. And before we start this, I would like to invite Mr. Devesh Lathi from Next Genius to briefly talk about Next Genius and what work we do at Next Genius. So, welcome you.
Thank you so much, Megha. Thanks for the warm welcome. And once again, let me welcome Bharat and Aman from the IBOS team. It's a pleasure to have you here. Very quickly, I'll talk with you about what the Next Genius Scholarship Program is, and then we'll move to discuss the NIOS curriculum. So the Next Genius Scholarship Program is a program where we connect high school students, grade 12 students with life-changing scholarships. We connect students from around the India uh, with full or almost full tuition scholarships to study in India, Europe, or the US. If you have a student, if you have a student who is bright and ambitious, who wants to study abroad, but who needs some funds, then they can apply to us for scholarships. Our website is very simple, next-genius.com, and you can simply search Next Genius on Google. The process is simple. The students apply to us and they go through a couple of rounds of online interviews before being considered for a scholarship. Over the last 12 years, we have helped almost 400 students win these scholarships. And this year alone, we are hoping to add another 100 scholars in our program. So the students who are entering grade 12 right now or who have just started grade 12, they would be a right candidate or right student for this program. With that, let me invite Bharat for the session. Everyone, please note that this is a certification session, which means at the end of the session, you all participants will get a certificate. For the certificate, you will have to submit a very simple Google form, the link for which will be shared with you in the chat towards the end of the session. Thank you so much, everyone. Over to you, Bharat. Welcome once again.
Hi, Devesh. Thank you, Megha, for the incredible introduction. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. I really, really appreciate you taking out time from your schedule and, actually being in this webinar. It means a lot to IBOS, means a lot to us. We're going to dive deep, rather, into an iOS, and we're going to make sure that this session, I will personally make sure that whatever, things are there, the incredible offerings of an iOS would be covered. I understand what 1 hour would be pretty less for this, but I'm just going to touch some very important points wherein, we've been really helping students out there and how NIOS as a curriculum has incredibly been very helpful for all the students out there. We've touched base with so many students, being athletes, being co-curricular. So, we're going to step-by-step dive deep into what NIOS has. And, we're going to make sure that everyone over here would be benefited and is going to carry something which NIOS has to offer. So without wasting much of your time, Aman, if you could just quickly share the screen, we're going to, quickly start with the NIOS curriculum and then how IBOS are helping the students out there. Great, thanks. So NIOS stands for the National Institute of Open Schooling. This is the largest open schooling in the world. So that means that any student from anywhere across the globe can register with the NIOS curriculum and complete their 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. So there are 4 grades which essentially it caters to. So basically, this is, like an incredible opportunity for any student who has been unfortunately not able to fit themselves in the regular schools, or they've been looking for other ventures, can do the open schooling and still get accepted in the universities, after 12 anywhere across the globe. It was established in 1989, so this is as old as a CBSE curriculum, being independent in nature. It has its own, the key stakeholders are completely different, and this is not intervening with any independent board, meaning that they have their own curriculum, they have their own exams, they have their own timelines, and that's what makes it very special from the other boards as well. It is an autonomous institution under the MHRD, so that means it's a government-recognized board. It's a central government-recognized board, making it as big as the other boards which are available across the country. Next slide, please. So the question is that why NIOS? Why would a student do NIOS when he's been doing the regular school, or where, of course, there's so many schools established. So why does he have to do NIOS? Because a lot of parents reach out to me and say that why bring this board into picture? So basically, it caters to a lot of things which we have tried to, put it in bullet points over here. So this is actually an ultimate solution for a student who's not able to fit themselves with the traditional brick and mortar institution. Basically, this is an exceptionally online program where the student can do it from the comfort of their house, and they can still do a lot of learning as it's an independent board. So the curriculum would pretty much be similar to what a CBSE or an IB curriculum has to offer. There is flexible subject selection, which means that the student can merge all the 3 streams together, which is quite, there are some features which are available in the other boards, but this is like the complete board wherein they can mix and match the subjects as per their convenience. It is fully recognized for admissions in the undergraduate colleges, of course, both in India, it being an Indian board, so all the colleges in India accept it, and overseas to a certain extent. And of course, IBOS has been very much useful in this case, and we've been really helping out the students to get admissions in colleges, because we have the LOR feature, we are listed on the Common App, we do the UCAS. So there are students who've been benefited from this program. There is a very excellent feature of rollover admission, so that the student can register with the NIOS anytime across the year. So there is no specific deadline when he has to register with us. He can register anytime across the year, whenever they're ready and whenever they think they want to switch to an online mode from the traditional curriculum. Similarly, the rollover exams feature is also an incredible feature when the student can write the exams anytime across the year, meaning that 12 months, they can, whenever they're ready, they can write the exams depending on what the timelines are for them from the college point of view. So this can really be incredibly helpful. Like I said, any student from anywhere across the globe can register with us, and they can appear for the exams. So it has a pen paper feature, and of course, we are authorized to conduct the online exams as well for the students. So that makes us different from what the other service providers are providing. So we can facilitate the online exams. We've had students from the Middle East, we've had students from Tanzania, we've had students from pretty much everywhere across the globe registering with us and appearing for the online exams. The minimum age for registering in the NIOS curriculum would be 13 years, which is a standardized procedure across the other boards. The best part is there's no upper age limit, because we've been approached by, very many working professionals where they couldn't complete their, grade 10th or grade 12 back then, because they have so many other, responsibilities attached. So they have to actually leave out the regular school. But with this, they have the option of course, coming back. They cannot go back to that time, but they can always complete whatever they were aspiring for, and they can still complete their schooling, even if they're of age 50 or 60 or whatever. Next slide, please, Aman. Thank you. So we've quickly, what we've done is we've just made a comparison. Of course, nothing against the other boards. All boards are incredible. It's just that, what we think is NIOS has a separate edge above the, like the other boards. We've just tried to quickly mention it over here. So there are rollover admissions. Of course, compared to the other boards, with all due respect, I understand that the other boards will have their specific timelines for admissions. But over here, there is no admission deadline. They can take the admissions anytime across the year. Admission is possible in grades 10th and 10th, 12th directly. Of course, I understand that it's very difficult for schools to take direct admissions in grade 10th and 12th. They generally refrain from taking the admissions. So I think NIOS can be an incredible opportunity for a student to take the admissions directly in 10th and 12th. The number of attempts per grade is throughout the year. That means almost once in 2 months, the student can reappear in the subject, meaning that at least they can reappear in the subject 6 times across the year, which of course is limited with the other boards, because then they'll have to do it once a year or just twice a year. That is the number of attempts which is allowed by the other boards. It's flexible. Of course, like I said, distance, more education. We've been doing the online classes with the students. So that means that the student doesn't have to travel to a particular place to have the classes. They can do it right from the comfort of their house. But of course, with the other boards, they'll have to actually follow a rigid academic schedule, which means that, of course, the offline classes will be conducted in a particular brick and mortar institution, meaning that the student has to go there every day. Anytime examinations around the year, like I mentioned, of course, with the regular school, there are fixed deadlines that the student has to cater to. So that makes NIOS a little bit more flexible as compared to the other schools. The timelines of the exams can be divided into 2 parts, meaning that the student can write, let's say if we have 5 subjects, so they can write 2 subjects in the first slot and the remaining 3 in the second slot. And with a regular school, of course, they'll have to write all the 5 exams at one go. So I believe that, this option can give the student chance to focus on those 2 subjects initially, and then they can probably focus on the other 3 remaining when they're going to get the second slot of exams. There are multiple study centers across the country. Of course, NIOS has AI pretty much everywhere, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 cities, wherever the student chooses to write the exams, they can go and write the exams. And of course, with a regular school, they have to give the exams in that school itself. The subject additions and subject changes are permissible anytime across the year. This is an incredible feature, because with a regular school, I understand that they'll have to submit the LOC to the board, and that meaning that they cannot change the subjects once the list of candidates, the LOC, the list of candidates is submitted to that board. So, NIOS has this edge, because there are students who might think that we'll have to take this subject for a college, and we have not taken this subject in grade 11, meaning that with an NIOS curriculum, they can take the subjects and they can even remove some subjects which they think will not be useful for them in college. There is a minimum of 5 subjects and a maximum of 7 subjects which can be opted. And of course, the best of 5 would be calculated in the NIOS curriculum. With the other boards, of course, this option is admissible, it's permissible, but the thing is they'll have to clear all the 7 subjects at one go, which might be a challenge, because let's say they've cleared 5, they're not able to clear the other 2, still they'll not be awarded a full diploma unless and until they're able to clear all those 7 subjects. Next slide, please, Aman. So generally, the students who are opting for, the schooling with NIOS, we've just tried to divide them into categories. There might be students with academic challenges and learning disabilities. We've had students with ADHD, mild autism. And I think this personalized attention really, really helps them, because they're able to pick the subjects as per their choice. They're able to write the exams as per their choice. So, and of course, they're getting personalized attention. So that's what they want. They cannot fit themselves in a class strength of 20 or 30 odd students. So that makes it a little difficult for them to actually learn. And I believe that if they've been constantly asked and, felt special, they want to feel special. So I think this curriculum really helps them. There have been students with athletic and athletic challenges. I would say a student is into sports, or if they're into dance or any extracurricular activities, I think NIOS definitely has that edge, because they do not have to actually properly follow a rigorous schedule from academics. It can be completely as per their choice. meaning that they can balance both the things together. We've had a lot of students preparing for NEET, JEE, so they have their own classes. So the NIOS classes can be, of course, in addition to what they've been doing. They don't have to necessarily replace the NEET and the JEE preparation classes. We've had, of course, there's an incredible benefit of students not able to do well in these exams. And this is not this end of the road for them. They can probably reappear with the NIOS as NIOS has this feature of anytime exams across the year. So we've had a lot of students reaching out to us that they've already not able to clear the exams and still want to go to college. So through the NIOS, they can still save that year and go into college in the same year. And of course, there's a subject change option, which I mentioned, that if the student is seeking a subject change, they can do it anytime across the year. Next slide, please, Aman. So we've, what we've done is just to make things easier, we've had some admission case studies, which I'm going to briefly explain as to when does a student actually apply to the NIOS and when does a student feel the need to actually do the NIOS. Next slide, please, Aman. So there is the first case study is that the student is in grade 10th and he's just given his MYP, in the month of Feb this year. And the parents are looking to register him for 11th and 12th with the NIOS, so they can certainly do this. And the student will have the option to write 2 exams in the next year. Let's say they register this year. So next year they can write 2 exams, and next year they can write the remaining 3 exams. Of course, there has to be a minimum 2 years gap in between 10th and 12th, meaning that the student can, do it in bits and they can do it in bits. They don't have to write all the 5 exams after 2 years. They can probably divide it into 2 parts. But the best part is that the final mark sheet which the NIOS curriculum would have all the 5 subjects generated without mentioning the timelines as to when the student wrote the exam. Because I think ultimately it's like it doesn't matter when the student gave the exam. It's just that how he did it and how where he performed. That's what matters in the mark sheet. So only the academic year 2026-27 will be mentioned in the final mark sheet, provided they register with us this year. Next slide, please, Aman. So there's another case study. We've had a student, like let's say they've appeared in grade 10 this year, and of course they're waiting for their results, and the results probably come out in the month of June. And every school has the provisional 11th grade classes started for the student, of course, of the belief that they would do well, and they would, of course, be able to submit the grade 10th results later on. But let's say, unfortunately, the results have not been on the brighter side, and June, the result comes out, and let's say the students are off for the summer break, and they come back in July, and that's when the school would ask them to furnish a pass mark sheet. So what does the student do in this case? Because they cannot go back to the same school and ask them, and if the school would ask him or her to repeat the grade, that's going to be a little let off for that student. So what they can do is, like I said, they can immediately write the exam from the NIOS in the same month. Let's say July or August, they can write the exams. And within 45 days, they can submit the same grade 10 mark sheet in the same school, and they can continue with that grade 11. So, of course, this is going to be very limited. The need is going to be very limited, but this still acts as a favor for a student for that year. And I've seen that the students are incredibly benefited from it. Next slide, please, Aman. So there is the student who is, struggling in grade 11s, and he's not able to cope up with an existing school. Mid-year, middle of the year, they are like, what do we do in this case? They've already completed their grade 11th, let's say. Of course, it's in the middle of the year. So they have not completed the grade 11, but they still want to make sure that, the timeline follows. So, of course, they can take admission in the NIOS in the same year. And like I mentioned earlier, they can write 2 exams in the same year of grade 12, and the remaining 3 can be given next year, provided, of course, the academic rigor matches and the student is able to do it. But still, this option is available, meaning that the student can still savor the year. Next slide, please, Aman. So there's one case study wherein the student is in grade 12th already. They've already cleared the grade 11th, and they're not able to cope up with the existing school. And they want to appear in the same year in grade 12, but of course, not with that same school. In that case, also, they can still take admission in the NIOS, curriculum grade 12. And of course, they'll be eligible to write the grade 12 exams in the same year whenever they're ready to take the exams. And of course, the results will be declared in 60 days, meaning that the college admission can still happen in that year. They don't have to waste that year. They don't have to do a gap year. They can still do it with the NIOS curriculum. Next slide, please, Aman. So we've had this, like this case study is really going to be beneficial from the recently declared or to be declared, IB or the IBCSE result. Let's say, they could not get a satisfactory result and they want to still do the college. So like I said, he can give the on-demand exams. This is actually a saver, and the student can still get the results in the same year, I mean, in 45 days, and they can still apply to the same college to the NIOS mark sheet and still get the admission. This particularly is very much useful for Indian colleges. Overseas, of course, the visa timelines and everything has to be taken into consideration. But I believe that if we can still help the student from the Indian colleges point of view, I think we're still doing a great job. Next slide, please, Aman. So change of subject, additional subject, like I mentioned earlier, is permissible, is possible, and the student can, let's say they realize that the subject would be required in the high school or in the entrance exams as well. Like recently, I just got a call a couple of hours back from, somebody who's not taken biology and they want to do NEET. So of course, they can take that subject in the NIOS. They don't have to do the complete 5 subjects. They can take that particular subject and still appear. Of course, I understand it's like a completely new subject, so we would recommend the student to write the exams next year. But still, rather than going back to the school and asking them to do the 11th and 12th all together, once again, it's better to just add that subject and take the 1-year preparation like tutoring from us, and they can still write the exams next year. And this NIOS mark sheet would have 1 subject, and they could probably club it up with that previous mark sheet and still apply. And it depends from college to college whether they would accept this proposition or not, but I've seen that they do generally accept it. Next slide, please, Aman. So, it's pretty much open to register throughout the year, but still there are different type of exams which are happening in the NIOS. So there are 2 public exams which are happening. The public exam slot, the first public exam slot is of course April, May, and the second exam, the public exam slot is October and November. So in order to, the difference between the on-demand exams and the public exams, of course, there are more students appearing in the public exams as compared to the on-demand exams, because on-demand is basically according to the need of the student. But public exam is pretty much planned that he would be giving it. So of course, they'll have to register at least 6 months prior to when the examinations fall. So, the dates to register for the April exams should be March to September of the previous year, of course. And for October, it's going to be September to March of the same year. So, and if in case the student has missed the deadline for the October exams, because the October exams results would be coming out in the month of June, and this is pretty much useful for college admissions in the same year, and they still want to appear for the 2025 exams and take college admissions. In that case, of course, we can help. The student can apply directly with NIOS as well, but of course, that will include a lot of paperwork, because it's like the on-demand exams are only meant for those who've already appeared in that grade earlier. So if it's fresh, then in that case, IBOS would be able to help. If they do it direct, then there's a lot of paperwork which would be involved from a previous school in which they were. So that again is another chapter, and they'll have to go to the school to and fro, and they'll have to ask for the documents. And I mean, of course, if the school cooperates, that's great. But let's say they don't, in that case, the student would be stuck. So we don't want that situation. So we've got a lot of students approaching us, and we are happy to help in this case, as we are the accredited institute. So we are authorized to, actually give that paperwork to the NIOS on behalf of the student and still get in the March 2025 examination slot. Next slide, please, Aman. So, student has already cleared grade 12. I mean, this is also a feature which is available in the NIOS, but the results are not as per the expectations that they've already cleared it, But unfortunately, it's just like a 40% or a 45% or a 50%. Can they reappear? Yes, they can reappear in grade 12 after getting the results, provided they're ready, of course, to write the exam at short notice. And the student and there's one more provision which NIOS gives is they can change the subjects or add the subjects depending on what they want to do after grade 12. So of course, this feature would be better facilitated by IBOS rather than the student doing it on his own. Because in that case, of course, they cannot use that mark sheet to take the admission. So we, in this case, we can send the predicate to the NIOS saying that the student had appeared in grade 12, but unfortunately is not satisfied with the result. So in that case, we can register the students as well. Next slide, please, Aman. So these are the subjects. I mean, it's pretty much all the subjects are available. And speaking of subjects, there are a lot of like vocational subjects also available in the NIOS, meaning that of course the student can do mainframe, and with that he can still pick some subjects that are practically very strong. In that case, the student means that the student can definitely score higher because they have the choice to pick those subjects. And that's what is definitely making NIOS different from the other boards, that the flexibility which they provide is just incredible. I mean, they can mix commerce with science and with humanities. I mean, like I've seen business studies, biology, all those subjects mixed together, which, I mean, of course, with the other boards, it's practically impossible to do it. Next slide, please, Amma. So even though we've covered it, like these are the dates, of course, it's important to just make sure that what the students interested in. The public exams would only be meant for students who would be giving NIOS or that grade of fresh. They haven't appeared in that grade earlier. That's when they'll be eligible to do the public exams. And the on-demand exams can be for everyone, even if they're fresh or even if they've appeared in a certain grade earlier, they can still go for the on-demand exam feature. So of course, all these things would be shared by Aman. He's going to send it to all of you. It's just that, these are the timings. Next slide, please, Aman. So we are happy to, like, of course, help the students out there. Grateful to have the support of IECs, like, hats off to all of them. They've really supported us in terms of any student whom they think can fit in our curriculum. They've been referred. We've been reaching out to a lot of special educators as well, just making sure that if the student is not able to fit himself or herself in the regular school and they're still looking for something which is more curated for them, really happy to help these students out there. And IBOS, of course, it's a student-centric school. So we've had some incredible admits with us, and we want to keep making sure that this NIOS curriculum can be benefited to each and everyone out there. Next slide, please. Great. Thank you so much. Incredible audience. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Bharat sir. Thank you. It was very insightful session and very helpful. All the case studies very helpful to understand the whole NIOS. And I would like to know more about IBOS. If you please tell us more about IBOS.
Great, yeah. So we, of course, cater to 9th, 10th, 11th. There's a very important feature which I wanted to mention. Thanks for, asking me to present a little bit about my school as well. So when a student registers with the NIOS, they would only be eligible to do grades 10th and 12th. NIOS doesn't have 9th and 11th as an official certification. So of course, if a student registers with us, we are authorized to provide him or her an official grade 9 and a grade 11 pass sheet as well. Of course, the NIOS curriculum 100% has been divided into two parts. So half is 11th and half is 12th. Of course, we're going to take the questions after this. So request everyone to, please just wait on. And I'm just going to quickly just have a little bit of IBOS, and we can probably take the questions. I can see Harmeet Kaur has raised, the hand. So yes, so we are authorized to give a 9th and 11th grade mark sheet as well. And if a student registers with us, we have the online classes from our tutors for these students. And these are completely live, one-to-one, completely curated as per the student's time preference. And having an IEC on board, it makes it very easier for us because we take, we sit across, we have a discussion with the student and their counselor says what time is suitable for the student because they pretty much are so much occupied in other things. So we're going to make sure that both the things can be balanced. So this is how, we've been helping out the students. Any student, like I said, can register with us from anywhere. We have got the authorization to conduct the online exams of these students. So that gives them a lot of edge in terms of managing the time. Of course, pen paper is good, I wouldn't deny, but there are circumstances when the student is traveling and is not able to write the exams, pen paper. So that's why we've taken the special authorizations in the NIOS, and we can conduct the online exams for these students as well. The curriculum is incredible. We've had incredible admits. We've had a lot of students going to the US, full fee paying students. And of course, we've had students to the Next Genius as well. So they've gone through incredible scholarships. So they have a special mention to you, doing an incredible job. And of course, there are other counselors who are doing a great job of referring students to us. So the students does primarily the students who are coming to us mostly would be for grades 11th and 12th. So that's students from grade 9th and 10th as well. But the numbers for grade 11th and 12th would be higher as compared to 9th and 10th.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Now we can take, I think, questions. Like if anybody has
Absolutely.
questions, they can just drop in chat box or simply ask.
Yeah. I think we can take the question from Harmeet Kaur.
There is one question, like Harmeet Kaur is raising hand. I'll ask.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Bharat.
Okay. Hi.
Quite an insightful, informative session. I want to understand how is the course content or the curriculum at par with CBSE or IB or IGCSE when students come from this board, and it's more about their artistic or athletic requirements that need to be fulfilled, so they are getting into NIOS.
Great. Thanks for the question. The curriculum, I would say, is pretty much at par with the CBSE curriculum. If you look at the curriculum, of course, it's like most of the topics which the CBSE curriculum has are pretty much similar to the NIOS. In terms of academic rigor, if we talk about, of course, IBDP would be on the top. I wouldn't deny that NIOS the rigor would be less. But then again, we are catering to the students who would actually be, like you said, athletic. So, they don't really want a rigorous curriculum. In that case, NIOS would be pretty much suited to their requirements. Plus, the subjects which they've already studied in the school would try and match those subjects so that the student already has some knowledge going forward. So these subjects would pretty much match with what he or she has already been studying in the previous board. And we've seen that they can easily match the academic rigor which the NIOS has to offer. So far, I mean, we've never had any situation where the students not able to understand the curriculum because they've already had a good idea about that previously. I hope that answers your question. Okay, moving on to Valerie, I'll definitely reach out to you because unfortunately this is an NIOS session, so we're going to discuss about this. Probably I'm going to reach out to you especially for that. Thank you. So Megha has asked what curriculum is mentioned on the marching to universities.
I have shared two questions with you. Yeah.
Sure.
So I have a question. You were mentioning the student can give two, then later on 3 subjects. So these 2 subjects, when they're giving for the first year, they should give it at a time, or there can be a difference of 3 months or 4 months?
Yes, absolutely. So there can be difference. They can give one subject in April, they can give one subject in October of the same year, and similarly, they can give 2 subjects in April next to next year, and the remaining, I mean, if they want to do it in April next to next year, let's say they want to linger it on to a couple of years later till October, they can still do it. So they can split the 5 subjects into 4 parts as well. But we would suggest the student to split the subjects into 3 parts maximum. So April, October, April.
Okay.
I hope that,
Yeah, that's very clear. The second question, if the child flunks in 12th standard, and because not to waste 1 year, so the child has to give all the subjects of NIOS or only the subject that he flunked?
Good question. In fact, so what happens is previously, if we talk about 2 years back, NIOS used to have this TOC, the transfer of credit option, wherein if the student has not been able to clear some subjects from the CBSE and he's been able to clear some, not been able to clear some subjects and still able to clear 1 or 2 subjects, and let's say 3 subjects not been able to clear. So those 2 subjects could be carried forward. Now they've only done the transfer of credits is only available for CBSE and the state boards. If it's an IB student or a Cambridge, they'll have to do all the 5 subjects because this would be classified as an international board. So there'll be a lot of, clarifications and documentations which are required from the AIU, the Association of Indian Universities. So that takes a lot of time. So what they've done is they've discontinued the practice of transferring of credits from the IBDP. It's only applicable if the student has done the CBSE or the state board. They can apply for transfer.
Okay, fine. And the third question, sir, in case the child is having disability of writing.
Yeah.
The child is good with orals or something, but unable to write because of some disability. So how can NIOS help?
So NIOS, if can help, it's pretty much similar like the other boards. They're going to get a scribe. They can apply to the NIOS officials. Of course, there has to be a disability certificate which the student needs to submit to the NIOS officials. They're going to verify the information, and if everything is okay, they're going to provide a scribe to the student. Of course, the scribe has to be arranged by the student, meaning that they'll have to arrange the scribe of the lower grade. Let's say they're in 12th, so of course the scribe has to be either of 11th or 10th grade, not even 11th. And there's one more criteria, that the subjects that the student has should be different from what the scriber has, because of course if it's from the same stream, then that's when unfair means can be resorted to. So in this case, I would say that if the student needs a scribe, of course they can apply, and they'll have to do the paperwork 6 months, 7 months in advance, so that everything can be arranged at the earliest.
Okay. The last question, sir. I'm sorry, I'm asking you a lot of questions.
No problems.
Because I'm a principal for a school. So it did happen. There was one ADHD kid in my college. He was doing his 11th standard. And when I approached, because he was an ADHD kid, and it was very difficult for him to write. He shivers and he trembles and all of this. So then we approached the board asking for a scribe. But that year it was a tough task, and he flunked in all the subjects. And he was not given scribe. So there is any criteria where you check the levels of IQ, or like how it is when you're helping the child with the scribe or something?
So there are guidelines, of course, mentioned on the NIOS website, and the certificate which the student arranges, they would value it more if it's from a government organization. So if that certificate, the disability certificate, is furnished from a government organization, that would hold more value as compared to him getting it from a private organization. In that case, of course, they'll weigh all the things which the student has. And if that falls in the disability criteria of what NIOS has classified, in that case, they're eligible to get a scribe. But this is pretty much to what the CBSE guidelines have. So I would say whatever guidelines the CBSE has, NIOS would have the same guidelines. In fact, of course, this is not relevant to our session, but what the executives and the key stakeholders of CBSE, the ones who used to work with CBSE earlier, they're all working with NIOS right now. So you can imagine the policy, the decisions, everything is going to be from CBSE carried forward to NIOS, because the mindset is same, right? Whatever they used to do in CBSE, they would want to implement that in the NIOS curriculum as well. So you would see there's a lot of similarity in both the curriculums. May I ask which curriculum is your school following?
CBSE.
CBSE. So yeah, I think in that case we can go with it.
Thank you.
Great.
Thanks.
Yeah, perfect. You're welcome. So I'll just go back to Megha's question. Sorry, I've got some hands raised, but I would just quickly just go through the chat and then probably
there are
take
so
the
many
question.
questions in the chat box.
So I'll just quickly answer. What curriculum is mentioned on the mark sheet into universities? Okay, fine. Yeah, of course. It's going to be the NIOS mark sheet. It's going to be mentioned the National Institute of Open Schooling, and it's going to be mentioned that it's an autonomous government, MHRD approved government, MHRD, like the government of India undertaking this thing. What charges are involved? Aman is going to get in touch with you, Megha, and he's going to probably explain you as to what's the onboarding and everything, all the procedures. He's going to explain it on the phone, if that's okay. Please feel to drop. Okay, fine.
Yeah,
If a student has some learning disabilities, then for registering, I think I've answered this question. Yes, they would need a disability certificate, and of course that'll be verified with the NIOS. But he or she would get a scribe. That's 100% confirmed. Yes, we can get the recording. Devesh and the team would definitely put that across. And I especially the way they're often skeptical future at the universities, and they acknowledge this board or not. Yes, absolutely, they acknowledge it, Ruchi. The most important part to any university acknowledging NIOS would be a regular school which is accredited and is able to provide all the documents to the university, not from the student, from the school. So that's why IBOS comes into picture. We are authorized to provide the LORs, the council letters, the predicates, everything is under one roof, and we're able to do that. And we've been, of course, sending all those things to the universities. So that makes it more professional, and that's when the universities would accept the curriculum if it's done through a professional channel. So we are the professional channel in that case. You've seen that mass comm includes various the lessons other than TMS include. Can you yeah, of course, anything related to subject, I'm gonna get in touch with you. But you know, like of course, the TMA has to be submitted. This is pretty much like generic information. I'm gonna get in touch with you. Aman, can you just note down that we need to get in touch with Pushpa after this call?
Absolutely.
Can we have the question from Manisha, please? Please,
Yes.
Hello, sir. Very good
sorry.
evening.
Good evening. Hi.
Sir, very insightful session. I have already actually sent my 2 questions to Megas, but still
Okay.
I would repeat. So one,
Sure.
you mentioned about the transfer of credit from CBSE board if the
Yeah.
child is coming to. What about ICSE and IAC?
Absolutely, it's acceptable. And CBSE, ICSE, all Indian boards, I would say, all Indian boards, like the state boards or CBSE, ICSE, everything, they can transfer the credit. The only catch to this is, of course, they'll have to surrender, or they'll have to submit the original mark sheet to NIOS, meaning that they cannot use that mark sheet later on, because it makes sense that they're transferring the credits from a previous board to another board, so they'll not be able to use that mark sheet. That's the only catch.
Okay. So my second question, suppose the child has taken PCM in school curriculum, that is in class 12, and he is appearing for biology through NIOS. And now the child wants to apply for medical competitive examinations like NEET. So will he be able to apply with the help of biology being done in NIOS?
This question, it's a good question. In fact, it's pretty subjective to what the NEET counseling guidelines have. If they are okay and ready to accept 2 mark sheets, because of course they'll have to furnish 2 mark sheets, one of CBSE and one NIOS biology only. So in that case, if the NEET counseling unit accepts it, well and good. If they don't, in that case, I would suggest that the student writes all the 5 exams, biology included, from NIOS. Of course, that's going to include, I understand it's going to include some effort, but I think that is more worth it, because we don't know what their guidelines are. I mean, it's like they keep changing it, right? So it's better to do all 5 subjects from the NIOS rather than just going for one subject and then clubbing it up with the other mark sheet. That's what I would suggest. And the examinations can be immediate, like I said. I mean, if he studied, he can carry forward those 4 subjects. Of course, they'll have to rewrite the 4 subjects, but it's just one biology subject which he has to study extra. But otherwise, they've already carried forward the 4 subjects, so they've already studied those 4 subjects.
Bharat sir, I have one question in my chat box. If a student has some learning disability, then for the registering, do they need a disability certificate if we are looking for the accommodations?
So when the student will be registering, there is a column in NIOS wherein while registering, they'll have to mention the disability. Once the registration is confirmed from NIOS, they would be emailing the student asking for that disability certificate which they had furnished while filling the form. So if they're able to provide that disability certificate on email, of course, then the other procedure is going to follow, and that's when the scribe is going to be allotted to the student. But they don't have to submit the disability certificate immediately. NIOS officials are going to get in touch with them through the same email which they've used for registering, and then accordingly they're going to ask the students to submit it.
There is one more question. What about the students who wish to join NIOS from Gulf countries or the other foreign countries? There are multiple questions this often.
Yes, we've had students from the Middle East. We've had students from pretty much everywhere across the globe. Like I said, we have that, like the edge of the benefit, I would say, of conducting the online exams for these students. So the classes would be online, the examinations are going to be online, and the students can write the exams. I mean, of course, the timelines would be the same for the other students as well. Of course, the student is got to be registered with the NIOS as a foreign candidate. So fee structure would be slightly different in this case. That we can always discuss, one-to-one whenever the counselor or anyone would like to get in touch with.
Okay, there is one
But
more.
it's doable. It's possible. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. There is one more question. It's about the duration of classes and how much time it takes.
So it depends. Like if a student is registered with us for 2 years, then we'll have 15 days, 15 classes a month, because any which way the student has good 2 years studying the subject. If the student is registered with us for 1 year, so meaning that they just want to do their 12, in that case, we can have the classes Monday to Friday. And if the student is registered with us for just a couple of months, let's say they've already got the results from a previous board and they're looking for college admissions, but that previous results would not suffice that requirement. In that case, we can have the classes every day, because we need to make sure that the student is ready to write those exams. So in that case, it can be, every day. We've had students, through counselors, and we have taken those classes from Monday to Sunday also. Of course, they're all present here. So we can do that for the students. So it depends on when the student would like to appear for the exams, and we're just making them ready according to the timeline.
Okay, we can take question from Pushpa, and she has raised the hand.
Yeah. So I have one more. If a student has a different way of understanding and writing.
Yes.
Sorry. Okay. Yeah. I'm just reading out. You can please speak. Yeah. I was actually reading the question.
Yes. Actually, we have students where I don't know if it is considered as disability. Some students, they can answer via mind mapping or concept mapping, but they cannot write like us. Is that considered as a learning disability?
They would need to have a certificate for that, like an authorized.
For
If
mind
that
mapping
states it,
also, okay.
yes. If that states it, then they will be classified as a disabled student. Otherwise, no. Because see, what happens is, it's a government organization, right? So they need everything in writing. They need everything officially resourced through an organization or through somebody who can certify this. If in this case, they can get hold of somebody of an organization which can certify this, in that case, they'll be classified as a disabled student.
Actually, till now, we have not found any organization certifying this kind of answering method.
Ma'am, in that case, it'll be difficult, but happy to understand this more. Like we can probably after this, because of course, after this call, we can probably after this session rather, we can probably get on a call and understand as to what exactly is the requirement of the student, and happy to help the student in this case. No problem.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So Manisha, sorry, what?
Rosie has raised, yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, Rosie. Please, you're on.
Please go ahead. Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay, great. Hi, good evening. Actually, I have a question. If a student is not able to clear A levels, because ours is a Cambridge school, so if he's not able to clear A levels and applies for NIOS, as you said, immediately after the result comes out, the child has to apply. So do they need to get the LORs again from NIOS, or the LORs which were provided earlier will work for them?
No, the LORs which are provided earlier would not work, because the student would be essentially applying through the NIOS for the colleges. So pretty much that mark sheet is, honestly speaking, null and void, because of course the university is not going to accept that mark sheet. So it's got to be a full, complete process of the LORs getting it through IBOS. But then of course they don't have to wait for the entire year for that, as it was with the school. They can do it instantly, like I mentioned. So let's say A-levels results are out, and probably a couple of months is what, we'll be prepping them for the classes, and they can write the exams in July.
Okay. And there is one more question from my side. And like in Cambridge, normally we give predicted grades to students to get a provisional admission in universities. So do we have that sort of option here in NIOS?
Yes, so we have given this option. So the predicted, of course, would be on the basis of 9th, 10th, 11th mark sheets, because we don't have the 12th grade mark sheets of the
Right.
student. Will not be taking the predictors of the 12th, of course, because he's not been able to clear it. So we'll make the predictors according to the 9th, 10th, 11th certificates which the parent or the student is going to furnish it to us. And then we're going to submit it to the college. And once the actual results come out, then those results would be submitted in the same college.
All right. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Great. Welcome. Thank you.
So there is one question in my chat box. The students do how can a student do science subjects with NIOS, and will practicals will be the component of testing?
Yeah. So we've done it. We've done it with a lot of students. So like I said, in order to get the NIOS AI, which we are, there is a physical school which has to be associated with it. So of course, I run a physical school in Jaipur, Rajasthan. So we are a K-12 CBSE school as well. That's where we've got the AI, the Accredited Institute of NIOS. So generally speaking, we've had students doing this science with us, and once a year we call that student, and they're happy to like just fly and come to us, and then we dedicatedly occupy that lab for that student, so they can have a hands-on experience in all those lab activities in those 3 or 4 days or 5 days. There'll be a proper tutor who will be associated with that student, and will make sure that all the activities of NIOS are conducted in those 3 or 4 days. Rather than lingering this on for the entire year, wherein the number of lab activities are just 15, 16, I personally believe that the student is easily able to perform, do all those lab activities in those 3 to 4 days. If they want to take more time, we're happy to do that. But generally, we've seen that a couple of days per subject is enough for all those lab activities to be conducted.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Great. Manisha has her hand raised from quite a long time. Manisha, please go ahead if you have any questions.
Yes.
Yeah, sir, I have actually put all my questions in the chat box, sir. I'm reading it out.
Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I just saw it. Sorry. So similar to my question, if the student doesn't want to do ISC maths in this, can she do business maths with NIOS? Okay. So help me understand this question. So business maths with NIOS, of course. I mean, the child is going to do all the 5 subjects, right? Is that what your question is? With business and maths? Are you there, Manisha?
Yes. Sir, my question is, there is one child in my school. She has taken admission in class 11. Now the problem is that in class 11, ISC board has pure maths for commerce and humanities students, and she doesn't want to do pure maths with ISC curriculum. So I was suggesting her to do maths with NIOS so that, her burden will be little less of pure maths. My question is, will that be a valid, a kind of subject for her college admissions? If she does only maths with NIOS and the remaining with ISC board.
Yes, again, it depends on the university whether it'll be able to accept 2 mark sheets or not. Because if she just want to do maths with NIOS, then the NIOS mark sheet would have maths. But then, if she's clubbing it up with the ISC certificate, then will that university accept it or not? As far as I'm concerned, of course, we don't actually do the college part because we've got grateful support of our ISCs doing that. But generally speaking, the universities do have reservations against 2 mark sheets. So again, in this case, I would suggest that the student does 5 subjects within NIOS. But if the university is accepting it, there's no problem. He can do maths with us. There's no issue at all. So it's subjective. I mean, it depends on the university, what they're looking at, rather than NIOS, because NIOS is pretty much doable in all the aspects. 1 subject, 2 subjects, 3 subjects, 5 subjects, whatever they want to do. So there's one question.
Please.
There's one question from Sudha. Yeah, Sudha Rani, that is it mandate for the student to join the online classes? I mean, of course, we can just take care of the registrations also if in case the student is already doing the home tuition. But I would suggest that doing it through IBOS would be more professional, channelized, because we are completely doing the NIOS only. You'll find very less tutors out there who are specifically doing the NIOS and not doing other curriculums, because if they're doing it through other tutors, I'm sure they'll be, at some point of time, they're going to mix up the curriculums, which we don't do. So it's got to be more professional. But in this case, if they're not doing the online classes with us, we will not be able to give you the LORs, because the LORs will only be given if the online classes are taken through us, because the tutor would personally know the student, and that's when the LORs are written. Otherwise, the whole purpose of LOR is defeated if we're not doing the online classes and still submitting the LORs. So it's like a proper school. It's just that there's no physical infrastructure involved. It's all online, but still the tutor should know the student before writing the LOR.
I think we have like time for one last question. We can take that.
Time for one last question. Great. Okay, so I think Sonam has a question. We can probably, I don't know, we can take that question and then, yeah.
Okay.
And of course, we are available after this as well on call. Sonam, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Yeah. I really want to know, like many a times my kids are giving exams in NIOS and they have different disability. So their parents are being the scribe. This actually happened when they are in COVID time. So this process is still following, or now we have to send a one age lower scribe for the exams.
One age lower scribe. One age lower
So parents
scribe. The
are not allowed now?
Sorry, I just lost the last part. Can you repeat again?
Okay, I just want to know, parent scribes are not allowed now?
Not allowed. Not allowed.
Okay,
They'll have to be lower, and they'll have to be from a different stream altogether.
Yeah, it's the same process like we follow.
And they're very strict about that, honestly.
Okay.
So,
okay.
I mean, of course, in this case, I would like to pitch one thing which is actually very which actually stands us out from the other, like the other agencies who are out there, is that, of course, having this online exam feature would really be beneficial for the student. Of course, in that case, also they'll have to arrange a scribe. All the procedures going to be followed. But still, I mean, the student can still write the exams online with the help of a scribe. Of course, that policy would still remain the same. They'll have to take a scribe which is, younger, and the stream would change. But still having it online, has a lot of advantages, because we've seen that a lot of times the scribe is not able to reach the venue, or there are some medical conditions attached, or there's something which happens, and we don't want that student to miss out on the exam. So that's why we're giving this feature. We're extending our support to the students by having this online exam feature as well.
So that's lovely. So we can go for an online exam that in that
Absolutely.
case possibility.
Yes, you can go for the online exam.
One more small question and then I'm done. I just want to know a little bit idea of OBE, Open Basic Education, which starts from class 1 and it's continue till 9th standard. It's a curriculum of NIOS only. And it's reflected on the site because I've registered 2 students in that. So can you give any idea or any workshop that is coming for OBE? You can just let us know.
We don't do it, ma'am. We only do 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. For that, I can check with somebody who does it, and of course, Aman is going to get in touch with you. But I can get you the POC for that. But we don't do it. We only do 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. Academic only. We don't do vocational. We don't do OBE. We only do 9th, 12th, full academic NIO.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Great. Welcome.
Thank you, Bharat sir, for this insightful session, and all the participants, they were very interactive with all the questions. Aman has shared the details in chat box. Please be in touch with Bharat sir with all your questions. I think it's time for the end for the session. We had dropped the link of Google form. Please fill that so you can get your certification for this session. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.